Now we are hearing.
Okay, do you hear me now?
Us? Are you hearing us?
Can you hear me? I hear you.
Yes,
Yes?
it's okay.
Okay.
We are hearing
But
too.
can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
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 Now
Okay,
it's
all right, good. Well,
okay.
then we're fully on and it's working.
It's working. How are you?
Okay, good.
Thank you to making
Okay.
this interview with us.
Portanto, vamos começar aqui. Eu vou falar em português e a Elsa traduz, está bem?
Dr. Rafael will talk in Portuguese and I will translate it in English to you. It's okay?
Okay, so we're going to be side by side?
Yes.
Yes. Sometimes I will speak in English too.
Okay, so I talk and then I have to wait for you to talk?
Yes, we have a mixture. We did it 3-4 years ago. You remember us?
Okay, I don't remember. I do so many.
Oh, it's a long time, but we remember you.
They said something about AI was going to translate it.
Okay.
Because it's better if we don't have to do it side by side.
Pardon?
Sim, está side by side, sim.
Okay.
Okay. So we will start.
Okay.
Ok, antes de mais queremos agradecer-lhe por estar disponível para esta conversa, para esta entrevista, onde tentaremos falar aqui sobre as vivências do autismo na primeira pessoa. Pode dizer.
Temple, first we are very grateful that you do this interview with us and talk about us in the perspective of autism and that you are available to talk with us. Thank you very much.
Okay, do you want me just to start telling a little bit about myself?
Pardon?
You want me to start telling about myself or do you have a question?
We have several questions, but you can talk also.
No problem.
About your experience.
I'm Temple Grandin, a professor of animal science at Colorado State University. No speech until age 4. If you have a very young child, 2- and 3-year-olds that are not talking, you must work with them immediately. Do not let them play with electronics. You've got to work on their speech, work on turn taking at little games, and skills like putting their clothes on. And you need to start right now. Do not wait.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That thing interfere in the you call a visual way of thinking or nothing away?
Yeah, that's my book, Visual Thinking, has been translated into Portuguese.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I think this book, The Autistic Brain, is also in Portuguese. Many of my books have been translated into Portuguese, and you would need to type my name into a Portuguese book website.
How has your visual way of thinking, in terms of thinking in pictures, influenced your work designing livestock handling facilities?
Well, one of the first things I did in research was to look at what the cattle were singing as they go through a race. And they might be afraid of a shadow, a reflection, seeing a vehicle parked alongside a facility. Things that we tend to not notice, cattle noticed. And that was some of the first research I did. Also, being a visual thinker makes me very good at designing equipment, because as I design it, I can see it in my head.
Okay. What were the most significant challenges you faced while trying to adapt to the neurotypical world during your childhood and youth?
The worst time was a teenage life, adolescence. Absolutely the worst time. Bullied, called names. And the only place I was not bullied was where I had friends through shared interests. This is really important. Friends through shared interests. When I rode horses, I had friends. Maybe a child might be in a robotics club. They'd have friends. Or a chess club. Or music. Activities friends who shared interests. We need to encourage that.
Que interesses eram esses?
What interests were there? It doesn't matter, isn't it? It's if you have the interest of music or interest of sports, isn't it?
Well, you need to develop the interest. Also, you need to expose the kids to lots of different things.
Okay.
When I was a young child, I was good at art.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just draw the same horse head over and over again. And mother would encourage me to draw the entire horse,
Mm-hmm.
draw it stable, expand that.
So start very small and then expand it.
Expand it, expand it.
From
And a lot of common interests are airplanes and cars. Airplanes, trains, and cars are very common interests. Well, read about them. Do arithmetic with them. Take that interest and expand it. You know, how long does it take a train to go from one city in Brazil to another city? Okay, so now I've taken a train and I'm using it for math.
Mm-hmm. So you start to paint the train and then you develop it about how the train is built and what.
Okay, all of those kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
And interest in things like cars and airplanes, trains. Yes, I would encourage that. Those are things that can turn into jobs when the child grows up.
Okay.
Para trabalho.
How do you think education should evolve today to better support young people with autism, especially regarding early intervention and hands-on training?
Well, there are problems in many parts of the world with access to services. And if you have a 3-year-old that does not speak, no speech, lots of autistic stimming behavior, you need to start working with them now. Don't wait for the therapist. Work with them now. Let's start teaching them words. Okay. Teaching them words for favorite foods and favorite toys. The other thing we need to do is little turn-taking games. If the child is spinning a coin, let's turn it into a game where we take turns spinning a coin. Little turn-taking games. And then skills. Putting on clothes, combing hair, eating with a spoon. Just basic skills. And the worst thing you can do is let them be on electronics all day. No electronics.
No electronics.
No electronics. I want them interacting for many hours a day with people. Take them shopping. Talk about the things you're buying in the store. We're buying a cereal because dad likes this cereal. We'll buy some apples. You like apples. Just turn everyday activities into therapy. The worst thing you can do with a 3-year-old that's autistic, no talking, lots of stimming, is to do nothing. I want no electronics, and I want lots of interaction with people. And some people have the natural ability to work with these kids. Get some students to help. Get some grandmothers to help. Get retired teachers to help. Mom cannot do it all herself. She's got to get help. Go to your church, go to your community group.
So how do you think the system
get working with this kid now?
And how do you think the system can contribute to these mothers?
Well, the mother can't do it all herself. She's going to get totally stressed out. She's got to get help. Absolutely got to get help. Ask people in your church. Go to retirees, retired teachers. But get people to come in and work with this kid. And we got to get them out doing things. Let's go for a walk out in the park. And look at flowers, look at trees. Okay. And watch airplanes fly overhead and look at them. Get them out looking at things. You see, as I talk about this, I'm seeing a beautiful garden that we have here at the university. And they sometimes take autistic kids there.
Okay.
I see that garden.
Could you explain the 3 types of thinking and how these influence career paths for people with autism?
Well, there's 3 types of thinking, and I discuss this in my book, which is available in Portuguese. I'm an object visualizer. I think in pictures. My memory is like pictures on my phone, and then I can search them. I can use language to search those pictures. Now, the kinds of things that my kind of thinker is good at: fixing things, repairing motorcycles, repairing cars. I want to get my kind of mind interested in fixing things. There'll always be jobs for fixing motorcycles. We're going to always have those. Then you have your mathematical mind. They think patterns. They might be good at chemistry. They'll be good at math. If a child's really good at math, move them ahead in math. They get bored, you make them do baby math. And then you have word thinkers. This is the autistic person that knows every fact about their favorite sports teams. They can tell you every football team, names of all the players, and their word mind, a word fact mind. Now, one of the jobs that they can be very good at is specialized retail, selling phones. They'll know every feature on every phone and every phone plan and help people get the right phone and the right phone plan. Selling cars has been also very successful because they know every feature of every car that the dealership has. But there's actually three kinds of thinking. And most normal people are mixtures of the different kinds of thinking. But in autism, you can get an extreme object visualizer like me. Absolutely cannot do algebra. It's too abstract. Or you might get an extreme mathematician. And then you need to develop that math.
Yes.
And then the word thinker, but with all the thinkers, we need to get them out doing things. No recluses in the rooms. I want to limit electronics.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want 10 hours a day of video games. That's bad. That needs to be limited to 1 hour a day.
1 hour.
1 hour.
1 hour a day.
Is the
It's
maximum.
enough.
Electronics. 1 hour a day. We've got to get these kids out doing real things.
Okay.
The other thing, we've got to get them to learn to talk to people. It's now official. Bill Gates is autistic. Bill Gates with Microsoft.
Okay.
And he has a book. Now, both Bill and I did a really, really good thing when we were 9 years old. We had to sell things for charity. That taught us how to talk to people. I had to sell candy. Another thing that we had to do was be host and hostesses at parents' parties. Greet the guests at the door, shake hands with them. We both did that. This was very useful training, and it cost nothing.
In your book, Visual Thinkers, you talk about pattern math oriented.
Yes, mathematicians think patterns. I think in pictures. Mathematicians think patterns.
Okay.
But if a kid is good at math, we need to move them ahead. You might have an 8-year-old that should take college math. Let them do it. And that's where you do have a computer. And I make sure that they are doing the math on it, not video games.
Let's talk about a little bit from your childhood.
Okay.
Can you tell us from your parents, your relationship?
Well, we would go on family visits, and I was expected to behave, and I was given a place to exercise. When we went to my grandmother's, she lived in a 5th floor apartment. I was allowed to run up the stairs to beat the elevator. I always beat the elevator. But that burst of exercise was good. And then another place, there was a hallway I could run in. There was some expectations. When we went on a ferry with a very loud horn, they let me ride in the cabin underneath. There were some accommodations. At my birthday parties, there was no noisemakers. But I was expected to participate in things.
Yes.
And for sensory things, let's say a child is afraid of a vacuum cleaner because it's too noisy. Let the child turn it on and off. Let the child control the vacuum cleaner or the hairdryer. or car horn, when they control it, when they turn on the noisy thing, they may better be able to tolerate it.
And your parents, were they very important? What was the importance of your parents in your life?
Well, mother had some expectations. They had to be on time. And I was taught with I recommend using a clock with hands, a great big clock with hands, big one. And on that clock, the second hand would go around. Then each time it went around, I could see the minute hand move. You can still get those clocks. They're not very expensive. And I understood the passage of time. And it's easier, I think, to learn with that than with a digital clock. And I was taught how to be on time, how to read the clock and be on time. And the thing I liked about the old-fashioned, big round clock with hands is I could go at 7 o'clock is breakfast. At 12 o'clock is lunch.
Yes.
At 6 o'clock, it's dinner. Or maybe in your country, it's 8 o'clock, it's dinner.
So if
I guess you look at the clock dial.
If they change that hours, how you react?
How do I what?
How do you react to the change of your routines?
Well, you have to learn that sometimes something changes. If there's a big storm, maybe school would be canceled that day. Most of the time, you kind of have to learn that most of the time this is what we do. But sometimes in some situations, we don't do that. Like maybe the car breaks down. We're not going to go shopping today because car broke. Things can happen.
Okay.
But it was disturbing you, these changes, a lot?
Well, yep, I got disturbed over a lot of silly things, slight changes in the school schedule. I can remember getting rather disturbed about that. It made me really nervous. When I look back on it now, I thought it was kind of stupid. But at the time when I was a teenager and they wanted to change time of day, we were doing different things, I got disturbed about that. Now I think that was kind of silly, but I didn't like changes in routine. When you get out, you can teach them to be more flexible. The thing we've got to do is get them out doing things. Give choices. Give some choices. We're going to go shopping. Well, would you rather go to this store or that store? We're going to go, okay, give me some choice of which store we go to. Well, we're going to go shopping.
And
on clothing, there's a lot of, some clothing is really, itches and things like that. Give them some choices on clothing. They can pick out some things that are softer.
The relation with the school, it was a good relation?
Yeah, mother and I, really good relation. My elementary or primary school years were really good. And the reason they were good, I went to a small school. There were 12 children in the classroom.
But they support?
Every child went to everybody's birthday party. So I wasn't left out.
Okay.
Teenage years in a large high school was a horrible disaster. And let's say you decide to take the kid out and homeschool them. No recluses in the room. We've got to get out and do things. You might have a homeschool group, but autistic kids, just be staying in the room all day. No, we got to control the electronics. They're not having good outcomes.
Let's do again a journey to the actually days. At this stage of your life, what impact did it have on you to see a documentary like An Open Door?
Well, I really liked how they interviewed people that worked with me. I really liked that. And in the earlier movie, Temple Grandin, the HBO movie, they showed how I thought visually. I actually did the projects that it showed. Now, the other thing I love about the Open Door, it showed doing my profession, being a professor, because where we've got a big problem in autism is not making the transition to work. Work skills are not the same as academic skills. We need to start off with chores with little kids. I've talked to many grandparents that find out they're autistic later in life. And when they were children, when they were 11, they had job delivering papers. Okay, in the US, those jobs are gone, but we need to start teaching the child to do a task where somebody outside the family is the boss. Walking the neighbor's dog, maybe a church volunteer job, maybe helping out at a retirement home. Working for somebody that's not family on a schedule. And the instant they're legal age, they need to get real jobs. But kids need to be learning work skills. This is where we're not making the transition into the world of work. Now, in my work with the livestock industry, I worked on supervising installation of my equipment. I worked with people that were definitely autistic that owned big metal welding shops. They owned machine shops.
Mm-hmm.
And they were autistic and they had multiple patents. So we have kids in my generation owning businesses, building equipment, fixing things. And then today the kid's ending up in the bedroom playing video games. Yeah, you got the kid that's playing video games. Let's introduce him to fixing cars and fixing motorcycles. There's actually been some very good successes getting autistic teenagers and adults off of video games. And they discover that fixing a car and working on motors is much more interesting. And they give up the video games because the cars are more interesting. And you slowly have to introduce them to it. You got to find the right person to teach them.
Okay.
A small question. Developing the social competence skills was very difficult, or was it the most difficult part, the social part for you?
Well, there's a lot of social things, a lot of stuff that's not obvious. Okay, I can learn to greet people, sell candy, but I don't pick up subtle cues that maybe I am boring people talking on and on about a carnival ride. This is one of my interests when I was a teenager. You know, over and over again talking about a carnival ride when everybody else was bored with it. Well, I had to learn not to do that. You can talk about twice, tell about the carnival ride twice, then you need to go on to some other subject. But there's a lot of subtle social things I don't pick up. I still don't pick up. And what's made my life interesting, you know, is having an interesting career. And today, now at the age of 78, just turned 78, I want to help the kids that are different get out and get into good careers. Because the people I knew that owned these metalworking shops, well, they had fun building stuff. They were inventing mechanical devices, inventing stuff. I worked with them. That's a lot more fun than being alone in your room playing video games and going to horrible, nasty websites that you don't want them going to.
For sure.
So how do you balance your scientific principles with your advocacy for rights and representation for autistic people?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
I repeat, how do you balance your scientific principles with your advocacy for rights and representation of autistic people?
Well, I right now I'm spending a lot of time doing talks. Yesterday I gave a talk to students in an agricultural leadership class, and I just told them, these are just regular students, I said, I got involved in the cattle industry because I was exposed to it as a teenager. You've got to get out and do lots of things. I tell students, get out and help professors with the research. So you get exposed to a lot of things, maybe so you can find a career you're going to like. And we need to get autistic kids out doing things, starting with the little kids. I mean, I would spend hours outside flying my kites and experimenting with little airplanes. In fact, I have a book on activities for kids. I think some of those might be in Portuguese. I mean, I know that my major books are in Portuguese. And you can look them up on Portuguese book site.
In the most of the times, we speak in the autistic child, but we forgot almost the times too, the adult autistics. How?
Well, you see, the other problem in autism is you're going from Bill Gates and Einstein,
yes,
to somebody that has much more severe. Then you have some adults that are non-speaking, and some of them can learn to type independently.
But I'm talking about in another way, in the transition for adolescence into adult life. Okay, that transition, it's not an easy way.
Well, the best thing is gradual transitions. Like in my transitioning to work, it was gradual. You know, I when I was in college, I had internships that were career relevant. I worked in a research lab one summer. That was really important. And then when I started getting my master's, I then started doing more and more things out in the cattle industry. So it was a gradual transition from school to work. Because what you don't want to do is graduate from high school and never had a job. That's a sudden transition is not good. Sudden transitions are really problematic. The other thing, I think that with too many kids, especially fully verbal ones, they get too hung up on autism. I want them thinking a lot more about fixing a car or programming a computer. And I'm going to really, really push things like fixing the car, because artificial intelligence will not replace those jobs.
Yes.
If the job is hands-on, AI will not touch it. I'm very concerned about a lot of entry-level programming jobs. AI is going to be doing those jobs.
So in this way, what would you like most people to commonly understand about the sensory experience?
Okay, let's talk about that. With me, certain loud sounds were like hurt my ears.
Okay.
Like a loud school bell would go off, that would hurt my ears. And then another problem I had was scratchy clothes. And I got to find things to go against my skin that don't itch. And things I wear against my skin, I wash them before I wear them. And those are new clothes are scratchy, so I wash all the clothes that go against my skin.
And with the elementar selectivity you have?
I do what?
The selectivity elementar.
Well, I still like the shirt you've got on right now, I'd wear a shirt like that, but I'd wash it first, because when it comes from the store, it's stiff. Underwear, all the underwear gets washed. The other thing I had problems with, like in the summertime, I might wear shorts, and then in the wintertime, I didn't like the feeling of the pants. So I just wear the same, long sleeves and pants all the time. That's fine, because it feels the same.
And is the same right now?
The same what?
Yesterday, you feel the same?
Well, I just wore a different shirt yesterday, but it was the same kind of shirt.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Now, one thing you've got to do is you've got to have decent hygiene.
Okay.
You got to be clean. And that's been a problem. I just the other day, I was at a meeting, and an autistic college student came up to me, and she had a white shirt that was gray. It was so dirty.
Okay.
That's not okay.
Mm-hmm. And that's
it's absolutely not okay. It's not acceptable. And I had if you watch the HBO movie, there's a scene where they slammed down the deodorant and said, "You stink, use it." I had to learn I had to clean it up. You just got to clean that up. And now there are some individuals have visual sensitivity, where they can see certain LED lights that flicker. And one of the ways to test LED lights is to take out your phone and set it on slow motion video. And the lights that flicker, you'll see them flicker on the slow motion video. That's something that really is a problem for some autistic people, also for some dyslexic people. Mm-hmm. And then, so visual sensitivity problems. But sensory problems are real. Now, some people wear headphones all the time to block out sound. Now, what you want to do is have them with you all the time, but don't wear them all the time. If you wear them all the time, it will make sound sensitivity worse if you wear them all the time.
Okay.
Have them with you.
In your opinion, you can have autistic and dyslexic in the same way?
Oh yeah, you can sometimes have people that are both autistic and dyslexic. Yes, you can.
Okay.
But have the headphones with you. So if a fire alarm goes off, then you put the headphones on. If there's some really bad sound, and then take them off. You see, control is really important on some of the sensory stuff. And the top area that I would want to do research on in autism is ways to desensitize some of these sensory problems, way to treat them. So, because for me, I still have sensory problems, but they're just a nuisance. They don't affect my daily life. But I do have to find things to wear against my skin that are soft. So I have a certain brand of pants I buy from Walmart, and I wash them a couple of times before I wear them. And then other brands of pants itch, so I don't buy those. And then I wear t-shirts under a lot of these shirts.
Okay. What plans or themes you will still like to explore, either in research or in community-focused projects for the autism community?
Well, I don't really understand the question.
Okay. What plans or themes would you still like to explore, either in research or in community-focused projects for the autism community?
Well, one thing, I want people in the autism, people that are autistic, get out and get good jobs.
Yes.
At jobs that they're really going to like, jobs where they're going to have friends because there'll be shared interests. Like I have friends in the faculty. We like to talk about grazing cattle. Okay, that's an example of a shared interest. We can talk about different ways we can graze cattle and improve the land. Okay, that's a shared interest.
Okay. Let's talk about a little bit of your career. Throughout your career, how have you perceived the change in the way society understands and talks about autism?
Well, when I started out my career in the cattle industry, it was 70s, 1970s. Being a woman was a much bigger issue than autism was. Autism wasn't even an issue. I made myself very good at what I did. And I started out as a livestock editor for a farm magazine. And I got a reputation for writing really good articles. Make yourself really good at something. People will respect you for that.
Independently if you're autism or not.
Well, I very quickly got a reputation that when I covered the cattle feeders meeting, I summarized the talks accurately. I got respect for that.
If you could leave a direct message for young autistic and adult people just starting their journey, what would you?
All right, what age? So young adults. So
Yeah.
I'm assuming fully verbal. Because the problem is autism has got so many, you've got some levels of severity. Okay, regular autistic adults that are fully verbal. I want to get them involved, get them out doing lots of activities, real activities. Working. I want to get them working. And in working, I'm going to give you a few tips for work. Let's avoid chaotic, rapid multitasking jobs, such as a very busy drive-up takeout window. It's an example of a bad job. My mind thinks in specific examples. I call them chaos jobs. There's plenty of other jobs. You don't have to be doing these chaotic jobs where you're trying to do 3 things at once. Rapidly doing 3 things at once. The other thing is I need a working memory support. Now that's very easy. If somebody explains to me how to clean an ice cream machine, I need to write down the steps. Pilot's checklists. Teach autistic adults that when someone gives you verbal instructions, long verbal, write down the steps like a pilot's checklist. That is something when I worked in a dairy, you had to set up the milking equipment. You had to take it down and clean it. The dairy put a checklist on the wall with the steps for the setup of the milking equipment and the cleaning of the milking equipment. That checklist saved me. I need an external working memory. Teach them how to use checklists. Teach them how to make their own checklists. So when they're showing me how to take apart the espresso machine, I'm just making up examples, write down the steps. This will save a lot of jobs. The other thing is vague feedback doesn't work. So let's say the boss just says, you're rude to colleagues. That's too vague.
Okay.
You need to tell the autistic person exactly what they did wrong. You called Jim an idiot at the meeting. You are going to have to apologize for that.
Okay. Yes.
You give very, very specific feedback.
It's almost at the end of our conversation. It's inevitable to ask you about your famous huge machine.
Yeah, well, that was sensory, and I couldn't stand to be touched. And one thing that squeeze machine did, I actually was able to desensitize myself so I could tolerate being touched because I could control the squeeze machine. See, this is where on the sensory things, control is so important. And for a lot of people, deep pressure over wide areas of the body is calming. Now, you can also do things like weighted blankets, weighted vests. But for some autistic people, deep pressure is extremely calming.
Yes.
And I used to not be able to tolerate people hugging me. Well, I do now. A squeeze machine broke a number of years ago. I never got around to fixing it.
So that hug machine helped you to reduce your sensory sensitivity?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
And because I could control it. See, it's the same as a noisy vacuum cleaner or noisy hairdryer. If I turn that on and off and I control it, then the child will often tolerate that noisy thing much better.
Okay. For me, well done. And on my behalf and on behalf of everyone watching, I want to sincerely thank you for your generosity and sharing your experience, your knowledge and vision. Your journey is inevitable and inspiration to millions and millions of the other persons with autism. Thank you so much.
I want to see them, some of the best times of my life was when I was out on a construction project and we were figuring out how to fix equipment, how to make it work. That was some of the best times of my life. In fact, right now I've got 2 new plants just started up, and I've been texting one of them right now. They're having some problems with handling the cattle, and we're gradually fixing it.
Talk a little bit about that.
What?
Talk a little bit about your new projects.
Well, they just built a big new beef plant with my equipment, and they were having some problems. And one of the things that was interesting is they had repeated some of the mistakes that had been made on some of this equipment 35 years ago when it was invented. And they changed the design, and then it doesn't work because they don't understand how the cattle perceive things. One plant's totally fixed and just fine. The other one's still got some problems. But you see, a visual thinker, when you solve problems, you see a solution to a problem. In my book, Visual Thinking, I talk about why we need visual thinkers. I talk about the Fukushima nuclear power plant disaster. Now, I don't know how to design a nuclear reactor. That's for the mathematicians to do. But you need me for the safety systems. You know why it melted down? It's not a very good idea when you live next to the sea and there's tsunamis to put your very important electric emergency cooling pump in a non-waterproof basement. The tsunami drowned a really important electric pump, I would not have made that mistake because I'd see the water going in there. And that electric motor will not run underwater. And I need that pump really badly. If I don't have that pump running, reactor's going to melt down.
In that way, in the visual thinker,
the visual thinker sees the water going in there. The mathematician calculates.
Yes,
they didn't see the water going in there.
But as a visual thinker, not only do you think in pictures, as you describe, but do you also draw? Has drawing played, or does it still play a role in your thinking and work process?
Does what play a role in my thinking?
The drawing.
Well, I see the pump underwater.
But you're not drawing the pump. You see it in your mind only.
Oh, I just see the pump. Yeah. Yeah, I see the pump.
You don't need to draw.
And I see the basement full of water.
Okay.
And the pump is under 3 meters of water.
So you have this vision in your head, but you have nothing on paper. You don't need to.
No, I just see the pump. I see it. I see the door breaking to the basement. They built a seawall, which once the tsunami went over it, now that seawall is going to trap water on the site. You might have 5 meters of water trapped on the site. I can see that. Gigantic mess. They'd have to break the seawall to get the water off the site. Yeah, I can see. I know exactly how it's going to flood. I've looked up all the pictures of it. I've looked up the drawings. I see it. And there's only one thing I need to know about that reactor. When I need that pump, it must run. Period.
So,
the pump's really important. It's got to run when I need it.
Today, there are many schools of thought that try to find justifications or explanations for autism. What is your opinion on these approaches, and what do you think we should truly value in understanding autism?
I think most of it's genetic.
Okay.
Most of it's genetic, and it's a complicated genetics. And autism goes from a mild geekiness and nerdiness. When you call a slightly socially awkward person autistic, there's no black and white dividing line. It's a true continuous trait. And so most of the autism where, they get, have speech. You see, you also have the Asperger type where there's no speech delay. That's all genetic. Now, there's also a type of autism.
If you think is genetic in your family?
Oh, yes, definitely. My father probably was autistic.
Okay.
Undiagnosed. Yeah. And yeah, it's mainly genetic. But then you have the kids that
in your dad, it is similar on you.
Well, then you have the kids where the kid has speech and then loses it. Okay. My speech gradually came in, but there's another child where they got good speech, good social, and then lose it. Well, there may be something involved in that. Maybe it's non-genetic, but most of all the mild autism is definitely genetic.
Okay. Dear Temple, thank you so much. Another time. It was a pleasure.
All right. It was great to talk to you.
Thank you very much on behalf of everybody and all autisms, and for us also.
See you soon in another opportunity, and thank you so much.
Okay, well, I just want to see these kids that think differently get out and be successful.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for your job.
Okay, thank you so much.
Be safe, be healthy.
Okay, goodbye. Goodbye.
Be safe. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.